Hey guys, Benny here from Crypto Catch Up. I just wanted to do a video for you tonight on what are forks, so hard forks, soft forks, every other freaking fork under the crypto hemisphere. There's actually a lot more than you would think. So I just want to clear that up for you guys because it can cause a bit of doubt, and especially on social media when people are telling you to move your money here, get this fork, get this money. So hopefully this clears it up for you guys. So you can make a decision on what you actually want to do, and why some of them are good, some of them are bad, some of them may make you money, but at least you'll be able to make that decision. I'll also cover some information around airdrops, what that means for you, and how they're loosely related to forks in general. So by the end of it, you can walk out, have a chat to your friends, family or otherwise, and know what the fork is going on. Alright, so the first thing I want to just discuss, guys, is what a fork is in its most basic, I guess, format. And it starts with understanding one thing around what is a node. So a node is anybody or any computer, you or I, that has a full copy of any blockchain downloaded on their computer. Now, we will use Bitcoin, for example, in this video because it is the most well known, and hopefully people can relate to it, therefore. So if I was to download a copy of that blockchain, what it allows me to do, or what my computer would do, is receive all and verify all the transactions that are going around the world. So if my computer then checks another computer and another computer in this decentralized network, if they all agree on the same information, we have consensus. And that's the second thing that we need to cover, is that so Bitcoin is a decentralized network, and participants or nodes in that network need to agree on a common set of rules. So those rules allow us to validate and verify the transactions in a uniform way. And by doing so, we can achieve consensus. Now, why this is important is because you then have this singular, long, beautiful blockchain, block after block in sequence with data that cannot be changed. It's immutable. And why this matters is because at the longest end of the chain, or the most recent end of the chain, or the most recent block I should say, a fork occurs where that block or that chain may split into two chains. Now the reason surrounding why that occurs is what we're going to cover coming up. So the first one I want to talk to you guys about is called a split in consensus. Now this is not the main topic of discussion this evening. This is just to understand all the different types of forking in a loose way that can occur. So a split in consensus is a temporary one, and the best way to probably explain this to you guys is just to use a quick diagram. Just going to whip up a blockchain here. It's not worth anything. Alright, I'll also give you a bit of a history lesson, guys. If you're not aware, the first block in a blockchain is called the Genesis block. And we have our block numbers that come after that. Now you might actually find in talking on people on social media or talking with your friends that they say, oh, this fork is going to happen at a particular block height. All that refers to is particular number in the blockchain. So for example, if I was to say Ben's fork is going to occur at block height 3, well, I know that when this block is found, that is where the fork will occur. Because Bitcoin as a whole actually on average generates a block every 10 or so minutes, it allows us to know that if they set a block height numbers into the future, we can calculate obviously when and where that's going to occur. But back to the splitting consensus. A splitting consensus occurs when miners may solve or find a block at virtually the same time. We have a problem here based on what I said before about consensus, because how can we have consensus if we don't know which one is the truthful one? That is a splitting consensus right there. What will actually happen on the Bitcoin network is that whatever the chain is to find a block next becomes known as the dominant chain or the longest chain. And every time that occurs, that is the chain that majority of the nodes are going to want to go with. That is the one considered to be the most truthful. Obviously, like I said, this is only temporary because now we have a new block. This chain will continue on, happy days, like nothing ever happened. So like I said, guys, that happens with the everyday running of the network. It's pure luck if they find one in a similar time. You can have a look at the blockchain and see that occur, or track back and have a look at that. Not a big deal. The big deals that we want to talk about though are where there's a change in the rules to the underlying software, or the protocol as it's known. So when these rules changes normally in the wallet software that you download on your computer as the nodes. So those nodes are actually enforcing the rules. So when a block is validated and sent, they go, ooh, does this match the rule set that I've got, programmed with inside me? Yes, no, no, forget about it. Try again next time. Yes, great. Let's tell everyone. Do we all agree? We have consensus. That's wonderful. So the main kinds of forks out there are soft forks, hard forks, and you can see there's a few different types there, including spin-offs, which are a big portion of what we'll talk about in terms of software forks, and also user-activated soft forks. So let's have a chat about soft forks. So soft forks actually have reduced risk, and it's kind of like an incentivization scheme to move to a new set of rules. So a soft fork, is an upgrade to that software that is backwards compatible. So unlike hard forks, which are not. So what this means is that participants or nodes that did not upgrade to the new software as a part of this soft fork, they will still be able to participate, to verify, to validate transactions on the network. It's much easier to implement a soft fork because it only requires 51% or a majority to actually upgrade their wallet software to participate in such change. What actually happens is, I'll grab a little diagram I've done a bit earlier. So this is my soft fork diagram. So when it soft forks, this is the new chain, this is the old chain. And what will actually happen is, if I get my pen, sorry guys, so the new chain will only accept the new rules, whereas the old chain will accept new and old, like I said, backwards compatible. With a soft fork though, it's up to this new chain to reach a majority chain like I showed you in that splitting consensus. So they need to effectively get majority of people to move over and to mine blocks using that new software standard or the new rule set. If that is successful, you can see here that consensus is reached and they move forward, happy days, with the new rule set implemented. What that means for anyone that hasn't upgraded their software, well, if they try to verify a transaction, no, you can't. Upgrade your software and you'll be able to join the network again. Obviously, the inverse of this situation is that if this new fork or the soft fork of this rule set cannot achieve the majority like shown here, or majority of people that have wallets or nodes out there don't upgrade to the new software, then the chain will remain unchanged. So that original chain will just continue on as it was. It will forget about this fork that had ever tried to happen, and no one will ever care about it again until somebody tries to do the same thing later on, and they'll have to do a better job of selling it. An example of a soft fork is CSV, or check sequence verify. It was a rule set change to allow, I guess, companies to lock up tokens. So recently on Tron and on many other platforms, Ripple, they've locked up a portion of their tokens into like an escrow service until whatever year in the future, to allow them to work hard on the product, and hopefully by that point in time it's worth something, and when they get it out of storage they're going to be really happy people. So that's just an example of soft fork. So like I said, reduce risk, doesn't have to go ahead, temporary in nature because it could or might not. The bigger and the more interesting ones are around hard forks. So a hard fork refers, like I said, to a software upgrade that is not backwards compatible with older versions. So everybody must upgrade their software to continue to participate and validate new transactions. So those who don't upgrade will simply be segregated from the network, not abandoned, forgotten about. With that though, if I grab another photo that I've prepared earlier, great drawing skills. This here is what a hard fork would look like. So a hard fork, both old and new chains run in parallel, side by side, obviously with different rule sets. Now with this comes another problem, is because if this was Bitcoin, and this is Bitcoin here, and this is Bitcoin Cash, when Bitcoin Cash is generated here, if I had $100, or let's say 100 Bitcoin here, I have 100 Bitcoin here and 100 Bitcoin here. Because what it does at this point in time where it splits off in forks, a snapshot is taken of everybody that has a value in Bitcoin in any wallet address up until that particular block height. So you get 100 here and 100 here. Now that's normally what happens, a ratio of 1 to 1. What this can cause is a dual spending problem, because if I've got 100 here and 100 here and they have similar rule sets, we have some issues. So what you'll find is that some exchanges will support particular forks or some will not, because if they do not have what is known as replay protection on the chain, such as what Bitcoin Gold did not have when it launched, which means I could go and double spend, people are more unlikely to support that fork until they have fixed that problem in their code. Moving on from that, however, what is hoped from a hard fork is that it's to be more so of an emergency release. It's to be something of serious in nature that has changed, and we'll get into a few examples of that a little later on. But it's hoped that the new chain, once again, will be the majority chain, and therefore majority of support will move over to this chain and support it. However, we have economic problems when that is not the case. For example, Bitcoin and Bitcoin Cash, where they fight between each other to try and take over the dominance of the main chain, which you can do much more reading on. I hate talking about Bitcoin Cash, sorry. Once again, forget about that, we'll move on. So in terms of hard forks or why they are done, like I said, they can be done for security upgrades, they can be done in a range of other reasons, which I'll try and do one each for the planned, contentious, and the spin-offs as we go down these here. So a planned hard fork is an upgrade that is written into the roadmap. So when you're reading somebody's white paper and you go, oh yes, or they might release an upgraded white paper or some news, it's something that they're actually planning to do to change the feature set for the entire community. It won't create a new coin though. So where I was talking about two running side by side, it actually is just replacing the old coin. Forget about that one, and we're moving on with the new and improved version. An example of this is a recent one from October with Ethereum. So Ethereum is currently doing a 2-phase upgrade plan called Byzantium, I believe. A part of, well, Byzantium, sorry, was part 1 of 2. The other one is called something with a C. I'm going to pronounce it wrong, so I'm not going to say it, but it's a part of their Metropolis upgrade, where they're trying to improve scalability and the integration of privacy transactions with ZK snarks. So that's planned hard forks. They're not too bad. Then we have contentious hard forks. And like I said earlier, Bitcoin Cash, Bitcoin. A contentious hard fork is due to disagreements within the development community of a particular coin. Because Bitcoin is so big and it's open source, which means anyone can offer to change it, people put in BIPs, or Bitcoin improvement proposals. And what they are is practically say, hey, I think we should do it this way or this way or this way. That can be good and bad. However, some people just never agree and want to move away from what is going on. As we know, Bitcoin's a bit slow, so they create their own coin or creating another chain as such to run parallel to the main chain. So that example there, Bitcoin Cash, many of those around. The third one of the hard forks is spin-off coins, and this is more common than anything. So because, like I said, Bitcoin is open source, anyone can look at the code base and make changes to it in pursuit of a better currency. With that though comes people either wanting to make valid improvements, wanting to centralize Bitcoin's network, big trash, excuse me, or effectively wanting to create their own coin and hopefully come up with something that is worthwhile. And then you also have people just trying to rip others off, which is not uncommon, unfortunately. So spin-off coins would include things like Litecoin and things like that. So what I'll show you is a website that I have here. So this website here shows you the different fork maps. So mapofcoins.com. So we have a look at BTC forks maps. You're about to be mind blown, because this is how many, what's going on here? Cheeky little devil. Maybe it's a size issue. Yeah, cool. All right, so we have Bitcoin, the king. And then look at this. So that is every single coin that is forked off Bitcoin in a spin-off. So they're trying to do something different. A lot of them are probably the same, and they're just trying to sell you some junk. But if we scroll down here, you'll see our friend Litecoin, woohoo, and everything else that's come off Litecoin. You click on this, it gives you a little breakdown, the algorithm, the consensus method, etc. etc. Then you got Ripple and a bunch of other wonderful, wonderful things. All right. Get back to that. So then we have user-activated soft forks. So the most well-known one of all time, I would say, is BIP 148, which was a user-activated soft fork, a part of what is known as the New York Agreement. And if you do not know what the New York Agreement is for Bitcoin, you need to research it. It is a big part of Bitcoin's history and has really been a big part of the forking troubles that we've had in 2017, which was practically to implement SegWit, which is a segregated witness. Once again, more technical jargon. If you're interested in the technical side of things, have a look at it. Effectively, in a block, it took the signature data, put it outside the block. In turn, it actually meant that there was more room in the block for transactions. Woohoo! But it has a number of other benefits, such as allowing them to utilize the Lightning Network. So that is a user-activated soft fork. It practically means that the nodes, without support of miners, tried to go ahead and enforce a new set of rules through a coordinated upgrade. So they start talking about it online, they post it, they say, hey, we're going to do this is the new rules, etc., etc., and try and do that. They actually achieved that, and it was implemented. All right, so why the fuss? Well, as we go back, like I said, with the spin-offs, what happens is they take that snapshot at a particular point in time. And if, for example, at that time I had 1 Bitcoin, well, they're going to give me a lot of the time, now this is not always, 1 Litecoin, 1 Bitcoin Gold, 1 Super Bitcoin, 1 Bitcoin Diamond. Who knows? But that's why people rush and fuss about it, because Bitcoin Cash was also something that they gave a 1-to-1 ratio of when that snapshot was taken. And that meant that you got a coin that was worth $1,000 virtually for free. But the issue with this is, like I said, is that not all exchanges support these forks. So it means that if you're storing your actual Bitcoin in an exchange when this occurs, that they might not actually support that, and you then won't be able to redeem as such your winnings, let's say. So that's why people talk about it quite a lot, because those spin-offs can be beneficial. Another one recently was BCX, whatever the hell that stands for, but it was on a ratio of 10,000 to 1 for a Bitcoin. So keep that in mind, guys, when you're seeing people talking about why they're trying to move their money to an actual wallet on your computer, like a Jax or Exodus, is because by doing that, you guarantee yourself the ability to redeem that extra token from the other spin-off if you are eligible for it. One exchange I do know that always supports such spin-off or forkings of the software like that is Binance. They literally just deposit it straight into your account. You might not be able to spend it straight away or sell it straight away, but when it becomes available to be traded, they're not too bad. But like I said, the best way to do it is in a wallet, such as a software wallet, or even a hardware wallet like the Ledger Nano S, which I'll leave a link for in the description below. So we covered a bit of snapshots, covered a bit of exchange support and ratios. The last thing I want to cover there, guys, is airdrops. So whenever a coin spins off as well, it might not even be related in a way, but they will simply airdrop it into your account. So if you have, for example, if you had DNT, which is District Ox, at some point in the last couple of months, you will actually given 500 Tron in your account if, once again, the exchange supported it. That is what an airdrop is. It's like a marketing tool for cryptocurrencies. So if you've had something similar to the one that they've made a copy of or taken the code from, they kind of give you a referral bonus as such to say, hey, here's a couple of tokens, come have a look at our product, we think you'll like it because you like this other one, yay. And it's actually been really beneficial in a lot of circumstances to get people in the know of what they now have. Alright guys, that's probably a pretty long video, but that kind of covers Forks as a whole. If you have any questions, leave them down below. If I got something wrong, I apologize. It's a lot different when you don't really edit your videos, so this is straight through. I'm not going to cut and change anything out. This is all off the cuff. So enjoy, have a good rest of the year, and please subscribe down below, guys, and I'll catch you again soon. Cheers.